What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Stop the rag!
Don't let it crack.
Stop the rag! 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 What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Stop the rag! 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 So I'm here with residents of the Knights Estate. For people who don't know why we're here today, I'm here to advise you of that. So homeowners who bought their house from the council, council tenants who have released their properties from the council, are faced with burdening financial crisis, with the need to evacuate their home. This is because when these properties were built in the 1960s, it's nice to have an audience, in the 1960s, I can tell you that the roofs were made with a cheap substitute for concrete. The substitute is called RAC, reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete. Now, this building material is particularly inferior when water ingresses into it. So what happens is the bubbles, so if you imagine a Aero chocolate, soak in that water, with, say there's ice, say it's a winter, that will force the concrete to crack. As the cracks develop, you've got dangerous heavy concrete just above your roof, ready to collapse and kill the residents living in it. So not only are these residents living with the danger of a potential collapse of their roof, but they also have an issue with the cost of relocation. These residents are being forced out of their homes. People spent their life savings, people have worked day and night to earn enough money to buy their own homes. Many of them simply wanted to live without rent for the rest of their lives. That opportunity is being taken away from them. We are asking the council to provide a fair deal. A fair deal means paying for the price of the property before they declared RAC was in those roofs. Because at that point, properties then had zero equity. That's not fair, is it? We're also asking for the tenants, the council tenants, who are having to now relocate. Many of them spent thousands of pounds installing new kitchens, changing the carpets, painting the walls, redoing the electricity, numerous costs. They won't be fairly compensated for that. We want a fair deal. We also want every cost for moving to be covered by Basildon Council. They made the mistake. They sold these properties under the right to buy scheme. They're the ones who have caused this current situation. So now we're going to shout again. Stop the rag! 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 What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Stop the rag! Stop the rag! Stop the rag! Stop the rag! Stop the rag!
Anybody want to